Hi, it's Hales here, and today I'm painting roses. Roses are such fabulous flowers to paint, and it's always good to start with the real thing. Get the pattern happening and then use the background foliage to define your flower. I start out in the garden and just simple washes of colour on the paper. I draw an outline around the rose and then flood in some background greens. This creates the edge of the flower without any fuss. I then pick an example and use some brush marks to try and define the shape of the rose. Make them all different because they are when you're out in the garden. Use some sharp edges and then soften off one side. This will mean that the petal jumps forward for you. You don't have to paint everything, and you definitely don't need to paint the outer petals. The background will do that for you. So it's just the shapes on the rose itself that you add colour to. Lift a few petals out to make them come over the top of the form, and then flood more background in. And you can see here I'm using the pointed edge of the brush against the flower to make it stand out. I am not mixing my greens in the palette, I'm letting them mix on the paper. And I can drop any of my colours in and let green happen from that mixture of raw sienna, burnt sienna, yellow, cerulean, cobalt. Any of those colours together will give me a variety of interesting greens. You can see how that background is just creating the edge on the flower. In the garden, the foliage will all be funny shapes, layers, lots of overlapping leaves and stems. The leaves are not all an ordinary shape, some of them are just straight marks. And so I can make an interesting pattern on the page and leave a few areas of light in between. I'm working with quite big puddles here, and I come in and work around where I'm going to have another flower eventually. When I put the buds on, I use my brush strokes to define those. A stem, calyx, and then the bowl of the bud, and a few little marks for where the bud ends. A little bit more dark at those bases in order to create more form on the bud itself. Now I'm using the dark background of the window to make the flower really jump out, and I pay particular attention to the edge of the leaves and the petals here. This is what's doing the hard work for me, not what I put on the flower, but what I paint behind it. And if the edge is too harsh in the background, I'll put a bit of water and then soften it. And you can see immediately I do that, how much stronger the petal is, because there is no other hard edge to compete with it. Vary the colour as you go around your flower, and this will add rhythm and energy to the background, rather than painting it all one colour and tone. A few little darks in between where the leaves are, and I'll do more of these in the next demonstration, but this just helps to break up the background while I have that colour on my brush. A little bit of definition on this last flower here, some hard marks, and then soften them. I'm not doing too much, I just want to give a suggestion of the rose. A bit of an overlap and a turn back on the petal, and that's about it. There it is, the end of my first layer of colour. The greens are all lovely and varied. I have no definite leaves yet, but I have a mass that I can work into with my next painting. You can see stage 2 on my next demonstration.